Hello there from wherever you are catching us from. This is an all-new exciting program, Health Ready with Dr. Reddy. I'm your host, Water Tay, and together with Dr. Reddy, we'll be bringing you exciting new content from the world of health and wellness. We hope to show you fresh perspectives and support you in your health journey. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Dr. Sankeerth Reddy.
Hola, everybody.
Now, Dr. Reddy's tour of duty includes being the resident doctor at NUH, an agency for integrated care, chief aesthetic physician at Astute Medical Aesthetics and Laser Clinic, and medical director at Go Zone Medical Clinic. His specialties and interests include sports medicine, functional medicine, food and nutrition, wellness, aesthetics, public health, and more. During COVID-19, he answered the national call for doctors to help at the front lines, and he's now working really hard at the dormitories, taking care of our migrant worker friends. Hey, Dr. Reddy, tell us more about your experience.
Thanks for that lovely introduction. Very crisp. Loved it. I'm very grateful to catch up with all the friends and all you guys after the COVID circuit breaker. And this period has been a very exciting and challenging period where I've had lots going on both professionally and in my personal life. I've been helping out with the COVID screening and caring for Singapore's migrant worker force at the Tuas dorms. And this experience has taught me a lot of lessons, especially when it comes to leadership, teamwork, and what are the challenges the migrant workers face. And I really respect and I'm grateful for everything that the health authorities are doing to contain the situation and to handle the public health crisis. So a big shout out to all my health colleagues and all the everyday heroes who have been putting those countless hours trying to battle this tough times and trying to play their part to get things back to normal. And we created this show to start with everyone, the big breakthrough in health sciences that could transform their lives and save them a lot of money, both in short term and long term.
Okay, and what I can do is also share with everybody my own personal experience in my own health journey, because 5 years ago, I was never exactly the most healthy person, but over the years, right, I've maybe because of my own family, I've got children, I've learned to take better care of myself, and I've been going to see different specialists, doctors, and I felt that there's something more that I can do as a patient. That means I wanted to do more research on medicine. I wanted to know more and understand more, and perhaps find a balance of the different medical experiences that allows me to try out. Yep. So for you, Dr. Sankeerth, what would it be for you to embrace in your own health journey as well?
Well, for me, as I said, my health challenges were a catalyst on this journey for myself. Last year, around the same time, I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes.
Wow.
And with my family history of diabetes, both my mom's side and dad's side,
right,
it was no secret where I would be with that kind of a risk factor.
So there is like a prelude and there's a possibility that you're heading the same direction?
That's right. And I was determined to undo that. I was determined to do anything that it would take to be free, disease-free and diabetes-free. So that was a big push for me to look at what was the invisible side of why am I heading in that pathway.
Right. And we're talking about the invisible side. So in the show, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be sharing with you, the different possibilities that you can actually look out for and everything else. And Dr. Reddy will be on hand, to really move into the depth of medicine and, of course, wellness and health and everything else. I saw in your citation, in the citation that I read out earlier on, functional medicine. Tell us a bit more about that.
So functional medicine is something that looks at root causes. It looks at disease beyond just what is visible. It looks at all the factors that lead to the point where the disease or illness is manifesting. And it looks at function from a very all-round perspective.
That means, would that be right to say that it's not just the Western medicine aside, there is something more than that?
Well, it's very strongly based on evidence, and it's
Right.
strongly based on scientific research that's been done. But it doesn't discard a lot of the other physiological
Yes.
and some complementary approaches as well, like yoga, like meditation, things like what have been proven so far to complement the existing knowledge. So it gives you a more all-round perspective on a lot of things.
Okay, so we're going to talk about all this stuff in the show. That is so exciting. Okay, so being, of course, a doctor, right? What is your relationship like with your patients? Or do you call them clients?
Yeah, I would like to call them, I like to address them as clients, because not all the clients that I help are sick. A lot of them come see me way before they go into a sick trajectory.
Right.
So like how I was a pre-diabetic and then managed to reverse that.
Okay.
And 1 year down the lane, I don't have the deranged health markers I had then last year. So I wouldn't be a patient myself.
Right.
So the same way I'm helping someone who's not sick yet, but they know eventually they get there. So I like to call them client.
Wow, okay. So we are going to show you this and more in this show. When we return, we will explore the world of health and wellness in Wellness Redefined. Hi everybody, welcome back to the show. In this segment, we will be, of course, redefining wellness. So, Dr. Reddy, what does it mean to be healthy?
Well, in a traditional sense, health is defined as the absence of disease. But the question of optimum health, we look at everything, not just the absence of disease, but we look at happiness, we look at energy, we look at sleep, we look at physical fitness, we look at flexibility, we look at overall health, sexual health, digestion. So we look at everything when it comes to overall health.
Wow. All along I thought, being healthy means you're free of disease, but there are like so many things to look at.
That's right. I mean, health is not just the lack of symptoms. It's not just living long. It's not just a disease-free living.
Right.
And there's a lot more to it. There's feeling good, lots of energy to do what you want to do. And are you sleeping well? Do you wake up feeling fresh? All that would come into the definition of health.
Wow, this is so much more than what I've learned over the years about health and everything. So, Doctor, could you take us through some aspects of it?
Definitely. So, medicine, as it is of today, focuses on the study and treatment of diseases. And health is defined as the absence of disease. But the moment you go into the paradigm of wellness, you start looking at things a lot more differently, a lot more holistic, a lot more complete.
Right. It's like the different segments coming in together to make it whole.
Yes,
holistic.
It kind of integrates, the different elements integrate, and then it comes as one whole piece. And how each element, like how your sleep impacts your mood, how your mood impacts your digestion, how your digestion impacts your performance in sport. So it kind of like all fits into the same, like a jigsaw puzzle.
Right. Wow, this is a huge jigsaw puzzle. And I think in the episodes to come, we're going to unveil all this whole big picture for everybody.
Definitely. I mean,
Right.
it was really exciting when you came and proposed about the show and how to like share what we know to the whole, like the people out there. So I was really grateful with the opportunity to share my passion and this information. So optimum health and wellness has always been a personal motive of mine, and inspired by my mentors and teachers to pursue that. And it integrates rest, it integrates sleep, it integrates activity, exercise, nutrition, genetics. So there's elements to it that we can really bring forward that will educate and empower a lot of people.
Well, in my own understanding of health, it also encompasses not just the physical health, but it also encompasses emotional health, mental health as well. that's something that we probably would like to talk about it, in the episodes to come.
Definitely. Mental health, emotional health is a big topic to understand what is wellness.
Right.
And I think it brings back the focus to what's the key balance. We call that homeostasis.
Homeostasis,
Yeah,
okay.
homeostasis. It's the fine balance that exists between the different systems of our body, of our health, like how our digestion, the nervous system, our hormone system, our rest and sleep, how all of that is interconnected to
Right.
maintain the fine balance. That's called homeostasis.
Okay.
And oftentimes when that balance is disturbed, that's when disease manifests.
Okay, so that means before the actual disease, something happened, and are we looking at the real cause of the disease?
That's right. That's the invisible part that most doctors or most professionals might not address.
Right.
Well, it's always focused on the symptoms because you present to them with the symptoms.
Right.
But when you dig deeper, you go multiple levels down,
Right.
looking at root causes. That's when you discover what has led you to that state where you are sick and you are actually having symptoms.
Okay, maybe if you can, Dr. Reddy, share with us an example of that. What are we looking at?
Okay, like for an example, if you've presented with a fever,
Okay, a fever, right?
fever. If you go to a doctor, a GP, they would say, hey, is it an infection that's causing it? What kind of infection is it?
Sure.
And then they treat it.
Right.
They give you, whether it's Panadol or whether it's antibiotics, they give you something to treat the symptom you've presented
fever.
with. Yes, the fever.
Okay.
Go back one step and then you ask yourself, why is my immune system failing?
Right. Something is causing the fever.
Yeah, what has allowed the fever to set in? Is it my body's inability to fight off the foreign pathogen?
Sure. Okay.
Or is it my body's overreaction to the pathogen? Or is it something else?
Okay.
Go one more level deeper, then you will see why is your body sensitized to that pathogen.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when you go deeper and deeper, it's like an iceberg. So in an iceberg, you
Right.
see a tip above, but then the bulk of it that can sink the Titanic is actually below. And that's the part that you want to look at when we say, what's the root cause of disease?
Wow. Okay. Well, it sounds like a lot of work to find the root cause. Am I right to say that?
Yes, it's a systematic approach to look at what are the root causes.
Okay.
And that's where the real magic is. That's where you get solutions that give you a long-term benefit rather than a short-term fix.
Right.
You're looking at a long-term longevity,
Okay.
a more complete solution.
Well, if I may, it's like when you treat the fever is going to come back again.
If not now, the next pathogen is going to cause a similar response.
Right.
So that actually brings us to a very interesting scenario of COVID. So why is everyone or most people falling sick when they are exposed to a virus? And pandemics will happen again. This is not the last pandemic we are going to see.
Yep.
We've seen in the past H1N1, SARS and stuff. And every time there's a pandemic, some people get affected more than the others. So
Yes.
what are these factors that are causing that?
Okay. In other words, there's some underlying conditions that some people already have,
Existing.
and they're more prone to getting the virus.
That's right. Existing conditions that put them at a higher risk for developing these severe symptoms.
Right.
So we all know that there's enough research now from the different countries to say that obesity is a factor that determines poor outcome for
Right,
someone who's
right.
affected by COVID, by
Yes,
coronavirus.
yes.
So what about obesity is causing that? And that becomes a root cause.
Right. I just recently came across an article that I've read on the internet from a medical journal. It actually stated that a lot of the victims of COVID-19 actually has a lot of underlying problems, not just obesity, but also heart diseases as well, high blood pressure, high cholesterol,
100%.
stuff.
So
Right.
that's because as I said, everything is connected like a puzzle. If one area is affected and you have, say, a diabetes or heart disease, it's definitely going to impact the other systems like immune system, your nervous system. So invariably, any condition that you have as an existing condition will impact how your body responds and fights a foreign pathogen.
Right. Wow. That is really, really cool to know that there is something beyond the invisible that we should be looking at, not just on the surface, but really dig down. It's just like an onion. You get the surface, but
peel
what
it out.
is the layers underneath the onion? Okay.
Yeah, that's actually that's a very good example. As you peel one layer of root cause, you discover new things. You discover that, hey, there's a different factor that we've not looked at.
Right.
And that's where staying healthy has a whole new dimension to it when it comes to disease prevention and to even recovery.
Okay, even recovery. That's really, really
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so what other factors? Okay, I mean, some of us are born with good genetics and stuff like that. Are there other factors that can impact us?
Yes, there are actually. The environment is a very big factor.
The environment, okay.
The environment that
Wow.
we live in is a very good factor. The way that the environment interacts with us
Okay.
through the soil, through the air, through the water. So there's a lot of factors that we often discount. Air quality is a big determinant of immunity.
Oh no, we're not talking about the annual fog that we get from another country that's close.
Well,
No?
that in fact, when you have the episodes of forest fires elsewhere, that smoke when it travels out,
Right.
and then when someone inhales it, it kind of weakens your respiratory immunity.
Even if you're like healthy.
Even if you're healthy, it does impact you. But
Right.
of course, it impacts someone who's already got a poor immunity even more. Like someone who's an asthmatic gets it even bad.
Okay.
So that's how environment has an impact on us. But one thing that's very important is how soil impacts us a lot.
That is a total new thing that I've never heard of. Tell me more.
Yeah, because everything we eat, like I won't say everything we eat, but all the fruits and vegetables that we eat come from the soil. So
okay.
if your soil is depleted of nutrients or is polluted, then the quality of food that you get is going to be poor as well.
Right. My imagination went a bit wild because when you talk about soil, everything else, I thought it's like, is it those days that I've been playing football barefooted on the muddy fields and everything like that? But it's a totally different thing altogether.
Well, there is some correlation. Of late, there's a lot of science that says the soil bacteria help build a much stronger gut immunity.
Oh, thank God for all the years of playing barefoot.
So
football.
if you walked like barefoot, or if you've played or gardening or something
Right,
like
right.
that, you do get a fair bit of that microbiome into you. It's not something that you ingest the soil, but they just go through your skin and contact and stuff. And it has been proven that there's a lot of mood altering and mood benefiting bacteria in the soil.
Oh, so sometimes when you go for a barefoot walk, say for example at the beach or on the grass, you just feel a bit connected somewhat.
That's right. There's a whole concept called earthing.
Earthing.
Okay. It's like connecting to the environment.
Right.
So walking barefoot is also one element which does calm you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a whole dimension about how that kind of relaxes you. Yeah. That's one way that the environment interacts with you and influences your health.
Right. And that aspect would be the medical health, the medical wellness. The mental wellness in it.
That's right.
Yep.
How you relax and how you say break free from the usual stresses and stuff.
Right. Okay.
So that's a very good way that the environment interacts.
Right. So it's not a woo concept, but coming from a medical doctor.
Yeah, it's pretty much
Just
like
coming in.
whatever you are in, like whatever is around you, has it influences you. Whether it's the soil, whether it's the air, whether it's the water you drink.
All right. And now I've got a very quick question. Most of us, here in Singapore, it's so hot out there, and we put ourselves in a building, working like 8 to 10 hours, and with the air conditioning and everything else. Maybe just to give the viewers an opportunity to understand Is there any impact on our health working in an office like this?
Well, you're talking about temperature?
In an air-conditioned building and everything?
Okay, so air-conditioned building per se, there are few elements in the modern day society which do impact. One is the air quality in an air-conditioned building.
Right.
If the air quality is poor because there's, say, circulation problems or ventilation problems, there's mold in the air.
Mold?
Yeah, aircon hubs are one of the biggest reservoirs for mold. And if the buildings are old building and you have other, like say, poor wiring and other stuff, it increases that risk. But there's definitely an impact on air quality based on, like say, the aircon circulation and stuff.
Wow, this is a lot of new information. And well, is it new for you? Well, we have to find out more about it in future episodes. Now, so we've talked about the environment and everything else. We also talk about soil. We talk about so much things. Are there other parts of it that's going to be coming in future episodes?
Well, the most important, actually, I would like to say is food.
Food. Okay.
We all love to eat food. Singapore is a food paradise. And how that impacts health, how the food choices impact health and disease, that's something that I think is a big part of what we want to share.
Okay.
And
yes.
Right?
I'm looking forward to the episode already.
And sleep and rest is the next pillar we want to talk about. And of course, Singapore is also another place where everybody likes to exercise and stay fit.
Right.
Especially the guys.
Yes.
And that's something that we also want to talk into. What's the role of exercise in health?
Right. So it's not just exercising for exercising sake, but also how does it impact the health and how does it actually move the body and everything?
That's right. It goes beyond just weight loss, or it goes beyond just maintaining weight, healthy weight. Okay. There are other benefits that we want to talk about and share that actually go deeper into what are the root causes and how these are altering the different areas.
Right. Okay. So there is like so much information coming on and everything else. And that's the reason why we're also taking this opportunity to share with everybody, okay, to redefine what is wellness. So, Doctor, tell us more. Are there other areas that we should look into?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest areas that has been impacting people across the globe is obesity.
Would that be the food that we eat?
Food, yes, as I said, food plays the most crucial role, the biggest role. And there are other factors like stress.
Stress, okay.
Stress is one of the biggest root causes for disease. 60% of common health conditions are related to stress, according to the American Medical Association.
All right.
Yeah, and other conditions also like diabetes, like cancers, like heart disease, have all been linked to stress. So stress is a big thing that people tend to push aside, saying is not a big feature. Right. But it has deeper impact on one's health.
Okay, I mean, I can totally relate it when I feel stressed up and everything else. You know, I normally just write it off and say, oh, it's going to be mind over matter and, you know, I'll get over it somewhat. But then again, it's always at the back of the mind, you know, and everything else. And in a way, my performance, whether is it at work or even at play, you know, it's like it's still there, you know. So am I addressing the root cause or not? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you experience stress, you also look at it as, is it good stress or bad stress? Is it something that you can handle or you cannot handle?
Okay.
So stress has multiple dimensions to it. And some of the things we like to talk about in future episode is how do you handle stress better?
Right.
Okay. What are the techniques you can use to work on that? Stress impacts your digestion. Stress impacts your mood. Stress impacts your sleep. Stress impacts your focus and clarity.
Okay.
Stress impacts your immunity.
Right.
So if you realize how deep that goes, then you come up with ways on how do you identify it and manage better.
I think that is one episode that a lot of Singaporeans here definitely need.
Yeah, I guess modern day stress and success go together, hand in hand.
Right.
When you want to succeed, there's no way you can avoid stress.
Okay.
So then how do you manage the stress? How do you handle it better? How do you develop ways to kind of get going with it. Okay, and see that it doesn't impact you negatively.
Right. And I think also during this time of the COVID-19 period, okay, a lot of us are probably feeling a bit stressed up as well with the isolation, with all the news that you see on social media, everything else. I think somehow it gets to you, even though you are like, yeah, okay, I don't have this, I'm staying at home safe and everything, but somehow it still gets to you.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I said stress is something that one can't avoid in today's. It's just how you see it and how you handle it. So some of the common things one can do to manage stress better or handle stress better is identify it first, acknowledge that the stress exists, manage your time better, then have some me time. That's very important.
Me time.
People often just don't look at themselves as being important.
Yep. So, I think it's really important to really take care of yourself first before you can actually take care of others.
Yeah. And learn to say no. The me time comes in when you learn to say no and give yourself that option.
Okay.
Because if you never say no, then you are putting unnecessary stress on yourself.
I can totally relate to that.
And then exercise is one very good way to loosen up those knots, loosen up the nerves, break free from the routine.
Right.
Because exercise produces a lot of good hormones and endorphins, which modulate stress as well.
Just speaking to you on all this, it's actually setting the context for all the episodes to come and everything else, because there are really so many aspects to look into health and wellness. Okay, it's a lot of things going on. And you might find new information coming to you and everything else. So what we can do is actually, break it up into pieces, okay, in all the episodes and share with everybody, all right, the different aspects of all the different pieces and everything.
The topics that we cover here, I guess it goes on for hours and hours. The more deeper you dig, the more that comes up and surfaces. So we try to cover we try to talk about what's very relevant to today's scenarios and what are the most common conditions that one can address to have a long, healthy, fulfilling life.
Right. And also, what we also would like to do is to break it out into small, bite-sized pieces that you can use right away and everything else.
Yep.
Okay, sure.
So one area that I would love to discuss more would be about food. And yes, there's a lot more when you look at food. Food is not just for energy purposes, not just for living. It has multiple roles that it plays. When you look at food as something that is related to energy, when it's related to mood, related to sleep, related to performance.
Right, not just weight loss.
Not just weight loss.
Right.
It's related to your hormone balance. It's related to the inflammation in your body.
Yeah.
So there's so much dimension to it.
And not only that, I think it's like, for example, one example I like to bring out is there are so many different reports on, say, for example, eggs. Some say it's healthy, some say it's not healthy. So we hope to break the myths and dispel, and go to the truths of what is really.
That's right. We wanted to actually share with you all about what are the common myths that people have about food. What's good to eat? What's not good to eat? What's healthy? What's not healthy? How much should you eat? Is too much of that good? Too much of this good? So we go into all of that, at least from a very science-based perspective on what's true and what's not.
Right. Okay. Wow, there's so much going on for all of us. Okay, now what's going to happen is, all right, in the next set, we're going to bring our special guest onto the show, and he's going to share with us his story in that social media post that went viral. So stay tuned. Welcome back. Every episode of Health Ready with Dr. Reddy, we have a special guest on the show who will share their unique story. We will tap on their sporting and wellness experience to inspire us. Our guest today had a Facebook post that had went viral. Jerry Toh posted on social media his challenges as a new food delivery rider, having to pivot from being a swimming instructor during the circuit breaker. His post struck a chord with many people, as it was a time when many of us were staying home and had to depend on the delivery heroes to bring us our meals. Here in the studio, we have Jerry Toh, swimming coach of the Water Family Enrichment Center. Welcome to the show, Jerry.
Thank you for having me on the show, Water.
Now, first question I'd like to ask is, how does it feel to go back to the pool coaching?
I'm very grateful and happy to be back in the pool again. It's been almost 3 months since we had to stop swimming. So now that we're back in the pool, the kids are happy, the parents are happy, and I'm happy.
Wow, sounds like a story to me. Now, I have to ask you about the viral post. What has changed for you and perhaps the delivery scene?
So it was totally unexpected to have my post went viral. Last check, there was about 16,000 likes and about 12,000 shares. So the message that I wanted to bring across was to have a more understanding society.
Right, okay.
Yeah, between the restaurants, the riders, and the customers.
Right.
Yep.
It's always a misconception that, the riders bringing the food there, they are the ones who's late. But sometimes it could be the restaurant, right?
Yeah, it might have been that way too.
So to all our friends out there, from all of us at the studio, we'd like to say thank you very much to all the delivery heroes for doing what you do. All right, keep at it. Not just the delivery heroes, we're also talking about all the people who are sending you the couriers, the parcels, the PHV drivers. Thank you so much for keeping us sane during circuit breaker. Now, your post went viral. So I heard that, it went just beyond Singapore.
Yeah. So when the post went viral, I received a lot of words of encouragement from Singaporeans. And then there were also messages coming in from people from Malaysia and Indonesia.
Wow, that's really, really awesome. Now, what are some of the things that you've seen out there that has happened since your post went viral? Something that has improved?
I think the understanding between everybody, it gets better. So like what you have mentioned just earlier, it doesn't really, most of the time, it might not just be on the riders itself. So it becomes more understanding between the customers, the riders, and the restaurants.
Right. Okay. And the public, I understand that sometimes I've heard stories of people leaving drinks and message of encouragement at the doors. Yes. Have you seen anything like this?
Yes, personally, I've experienced it once. I was waiting to collect an order at a shopping mall. So there was this couple who came up to me and gave me a can of isotonic drink. So I was quite shocked. Yeah, I was quite shocked. So I asked them, why are you giving me a free drink?
Right.
So they went and said, actually we wanted to do something for the riders. And this is a way of saying thank you to you.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Yeah, so it really warms the heart, when people do this kind of act.
And it's, it's not an easy job at all to be a delivery rider or driver or anything like that.
Yes.
Right.
So, Jerry, what was your schedule like and how much distance did you cover during the time?
So on a daily basis, I will start my delivery around 6 a.m. and then I will cycle around for 10 to 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
6 a.m. and then 12 hours a day.
Yes.
I'm not an early riser, by the way.
Right.
So, and how long do you travel? Like, what is the distance you cover?
The average distance is about 50 to 80 kilometers.
50 to 80
50 to 80.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
2 ways
Yes.
across the island. Wow, that's a lot. It must be a really, really exhausting job.
Yes, it is.
So what were the physical challenges that you experienced?
Some of the physical challenges I personally experienced, things like irregular meal times. Yep, I don't get to eat as and when I like to. Only during short breaks when there's no orders coming in, then I get the chance to have some meals, some quick meals. Yep.
Oh, it's one of those like bite and go kind of thing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And also fatigue. Fatigue plays a very big challenge on a daily basis, especially when cycling on a rainy day.
Wow, that I can imagine that. 50, 80 kilometers a day. I would like I can't do 10, 15 kilometers and stay sane for the rest of the day. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to you.
Thank you.
Wow, really, really awesome. Now, what I also like to add on is on a rainy day, and if I can remember for the past few months, it's been really raining in the afternoon and everything else.
Yep.
So it must be dangerous out there.
Yep. Yeah. So mentally wise, it's challenging because not only I have to stay alert on the roads, but back in my mind, those food at the back, in the delivery bag, I also have to be aware of it and make sure that the food does not spill out.
Wow. Okay. Well, sounds professional to me. Okay. Right. And it's probably very exhausting and if I had a schedule like this, by the end of the day, I would probably just want to crash in bed and sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that. But let's have a bit of fun.
Okay.
Okay, grab those whiteboards and markers, and I'm going to ask you both a few questions, and some questions on sleep behavior. Since Jerry brought up about exhaustion and fatigue, I thought that's a good thing to talk about.
Sleep. Wow. Okay.
So, how many hours of sleep do you get in a day?
Okay.
You guys can pen it down.
Okay.
Okay. And this would be my answer. My answer will be 5 to 8 hours, depending on what time my kids wake me up.
Yeah, my answer is 5 hours.
Okay. How many hours of sleep a day do you think is optimum?
Optimum. Wow.
Like, what's optimum might vary for both of you, but what's your view on that?
Okay. For me, optimum. This would be my optimum. 12 hours sleep.
Half a day?
What about you?
Mine will be 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay. So,
Is it a lot, 12 hours? Or is it optimum?
well, if you're a 5-year-old child, well, 12 hours is optimum.
Yeah.
Maybe you are like.
Thank you. All right.
So, what are the benefits of good sleep? Do you guys know any? What do you think about good sleep?
Well, if I sleep well, I feel better. I feel more alert and everything.
What about you, Jerry? What do you think about a good sleep?
Good sleep is a sleep where I don't get disturbed by anything. I don't get awake. I don't wake up in the middle of the night. And if I get a good sleep, I think I'll feel happier.
Okay, yeah. What you guys brought out is both accurate. It improves your mood, it improves your emotion, and you feel well and refreshed the next day. The other things is sleep also helps with managing stress, because that's the time your body recharges and you feel rested, and your body also repairs what it has gone through, the wear and tear of the day. So sleep is very crucial.
Well,
and yeah.
Cool. And one of the things, is it a myth that I'd like to ask you, doctor, that you can actually lose weight when you sleep?
Well, it is partly true. I would say if you're well rested,
Right.
your stress eating is going to be a lot lesser.
Ah.
And your body's metabolism is also at
Right.
an optimum range. Mm-hmm. So your body burns fats better, your body burns carbs better.
Right,
And you tend to lose more, burn more.
Yeah. I do realize one thing, okay? Whenever I feel stress from the lack of sleep, I tend to want to crave for sweet things and stuff like that. And that, of course, make me gain weight.
Yeah, 100%. So the lack of sleep does put a big dent into the balance that your body has, and it accumulates to cause hormonal problems, and that in turn leads to weight gain.
I see.
So that's one of the biggest challenges for modern day and modern workforce like Singapore.
Right.
Yeah.
So 12 hours of sleep, that it is. All right. Now, here's a big review in this show. Now, unknown to many, apart from being a swimming instructor, Jerry is also a triathlete. In fact, an Ironman finisher. So, Jerry, we'd like to share about the distance of the swim, the bike, and the run.
Okay,
legs.
so for the full Ironman, we need to swim 3.8 kilometer, followed by a 180 kilometer bike, and then you run the full marathon within 17 hours.
And that's the reason why he's riding like 50 to 80 kilometers a
50
day.
to 80 kilometers. Yes, now I know why.
Right. And I also understand from Jerry in our earlier conversation that one of the reasons why he chose to ride the bicycle is to train for future triathlon.
Yes.
All right, he actually has a car. He could easily use his car for delivery, but he chose to ride on a bike in the rain, 50 kilometers a day.
That's amazing. I mean, you're using the opportunity and changing the adversity to an opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing that as a way to train and clock those hours, keep your body conditioned. That's really good.
Thank you.
And so he's very well qualified to share his cycling tips to the many delivery riders on bicycles.
Yep.
Okay, so Jerry, the Iron Man, what are your tips? on riding?
So what I see on the roads, many of us, we tend to cycle and deliver without helmets on. So I think a good and a really fitting helmet is important.
Oh, okay. What is a good helmet, if you can just go a bit more on the specifics?
A good helmet maybe is something that really fits you. You don't get the wrong size.
Sizing.
Yep.
So you don't like buy it off from the internet,
Yes.
stuff like that, or hand me down. But it's a very personal thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think any road safety, I mean, helmets play a big role in road
Right.
safety. Even if one falls down, it protects your vital part, your brain from getting injured.
Right.
And I've seen, like in the ED, when I'm in the emergency department, road traffic accidents can be really nasty.
So a helmet can actually make a lot of difference?
Yes, it can. Definitely can.
Wow, okay. What else, Jerry, apart from having a helmet, what else comes in really handy and safe for all the riders out there?
Living in Singapore, we all tend to wear slippers. So yeah, a lot of us, we just wear slipper and just cycle on the road. So I think a proper footwear and gloves is really important.
Footwear and gloves, I see, okay. And I think perhaps it's like when you happen to have a bit of an accident or suddenly you need to do a bit of braking, hard braking, with, imagine wearing slippers and wearing proper footwear, I think it
Makes a
lot of
difference.
difference.
But that's the first time I heard someone say gloves is so crucial for cycling. Well, is it the grip or is it to avoid like injuries when you meet with some unforeseen?
I think it's for both, because we ride long hours on the road. So imagine gripping on the handlebar for 10 hours. You might get abrasion on your hand. And also, if let's say an accident will happen, you might just get a bruise, or get cut on your hand.
Right.
So I think it adds a layer of protection on your hand.
Okay, what about the bike itself?
The bike itself, I think a lot of us tend to miss out on the small things.
Okay.
Maybe like a good tire.
Tires,
Yep.
okay.
Tire, brakes.
Brakes, oh yeah, you can ride fast, but do you have the brakes?
Yep.
Yeah.
And lights, especially important when we cycle at night.
Night delivery.
Yep.
Okay, it's really, really important. Now, 50 to 80 kilometers, how do you keep yourself hydrated?
Okay, so for myself, I get a water bag. So the water bag is about 1.5 liter. So I will just carry on my back and then I'll just cycle around. As and when I'm thirsty, I will just drink it. And once I run out of it, I have to look for the nearby water cooler to refill it. So I became very cautious on my water rationing.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
that's another thing that I wanted to ask you earlier. How much water do you think do you drink for that 50 to 80 kilometers?
I will just refill once a day, so maybe about 3 liter.
3 liter?
Yep.
Yeah, because what I've realized while I covered sports events here in Singapore is because it's humid out here, we perspire a lot more. So one of the most common injuries for endurance sport is heat exhaustion. And water is one big difference to whether one would experience heat strokes and heat exhaustion. So I guess it plays a very key role that you hydrate very regularly.
Yeah, I mean, just to add is like probably with the heat stroke and perhaps a bit of a confusion from the lack of water, it also hampers the safety aspects of it as well.
Yeah,
right?
it does. And it also impairs, you might know, right, when you compete at a triathlon professional level, the lack when you're dehydrated, it does impair your performance, how much further you can go, how fast you can go, and stuff like that. So I guess I can't stress more about what the importance of keeping hydrated.
So Jerry, what else can the delivery riders improve on themselves, or the safety and of course their performance?
Maybe you can keep yourself hydrated.
Yep, that's one.
Yep. The delivery bag that we used to have it on our back.
It looks so heavy.
Oh yes,
It's quite bulky.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So when I first started, I was just like everyone else. We just cycle with a bag on it. But after 2 weeks into the delivery, I get to have shoulder
Pains.
pains.
Yeah. And every night when I go back home, I was like, oh.
And your wife will give you a good massage.
Yes.
I can imagine wearing that heavy bag
Yep.
and then riding,
Yep.
or even actually on the cycle. I don't know how much it impairs the balance on the cycle because it's bulky. It's going to kind of. So, how do you handle that?
So after 2 weeks, I start to see some of my fellow cyclists. They got a rack on their bicycle. So that was the point. I said, oh yeah, I should have thought of that too.
Yeah, that's a quick. I mean, that's a very good way to take the stress off your
Yes.
Right.
And it feels really great to have that load off me.
Off you, yeah.
Yes.
And it's safer as well.
It's safer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, 50 to 80 kilometers a day.
Yep.
Surely some other parts of the body, apart from your shoulder, would ache and stuff like that, or then things like that.
Yep. I remember 1 week into cycling, I get saddle sore. Yeah. And then I get abrasion on my thighs. So that was really, really painful.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me, 50 to 80 kilometers, I'm sure there's going to be abrasions and saddle sores.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a very leisure, slow cycle, recreational cyclist. And even doing 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers,
Right.
I get like sore thighs and sore back and stuff like that. So I can imagine, even for a trained athlete like you, if you're carrying a load and then cycling, you will experience some of that skin abrasions and stuff.
So as a Ironman finisher and everything else, what are some of your tips on this?
Tell us.
Just like the helmet, get a good fitting saddle that suits you.
Right.
Yep. And I think the height of the bicycle also plays a part.
Okay.
Yep. If the size doesn't meet your height, I think it gets lead to the injuries.
All right. What about protective equipment?
Protective equipment.
Like creams and powders and stuff.
Oh yeah, maybe we can apply some anti-abrasion cream.
Right.
Yeah, before the start of the delivery.
Yeah.
And perhaps tights as well
Yeah,
to prevent
tights.
the abrasion.
Yeah, cycling tights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, next question I'd like to ask you, Jerry, is can you tell us more about the Water Family Enrichment Center? Do you have any exciting plans coming up?
Okay, so the Water Family Enrichment Center is basically a swimming school and a tuition center.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so-
2 in 1.
I'm in charge of the swimming aspect,
Right,
and
right.
my wife, who was a former teacher, she's in charge of the tuition side.
Ah.
Oh, that's a cool way to
That's a
integrate
nice-
like
nice cool
fun
concept.
with
Yes.
tuition and enrichment.
So
That's
we
nice.
take care of everything for the kids.
Right, so you have the swimming portion taken
Yeah.
care of you and the tuition by your wife.
Yes.
But why is it so? Why do you want to combine the two aspects together?
Oh, okay. So because my idea is that the kids can learn swimming at the same time, and yet at the same time they can focus on their studies. So the parents, they can have peace of mind, ensuring that the kids, although they are having fun in swimming, but their academics are not affected.
Ah, okay. Because I've heard of stories of people actually pulling out
Yes.
and stuff like that for
Yes.
is it the PSLE or something?
For over the years, I realized that parents tend to pull their kids out when they reach P5 and P6 because
Okay.
of PSLE. They want to prepare the kids for the PSLE. So it clinched in me, that it's such a waste to see potential swimmers giving up because of
Right.
academics. So that's where my wife will come in and take care of the studies for them.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So any plans, exciting plans coming up?
As we are still in the early stages of phase 2, so we are still taking a cautious approach in resuming all our lessons.
Right.
But hopefully, when all this is over, we would like to have a swimming carnival where we can bring everyone back together. I think everyone is missing, this kind of gatherings together.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
And I love the idea that he's integrating both tuition and swimming.
Yep.
Like you have a sound mind and a sound body going together.
It's holistic.
And it is, yes, I love that idea.
Thank you.
right. Now, I'd like to find out, okay, the COVID-19 pandemic with so many things happening around us, how has it shaped you?
COVID-19 hit me really hard. Without coaching, I would have to use all my savings. So my wife and I actually sat down and then we talk about this. And I feel that it makes no sense to see my savings deplete. So that's where I decided to take up a Grab food delivery. Like doctor say, I make use of this chance to train for my triathlon also, to exercise and keep fit. And I think life is full of challenges. We just got to adapt and try to emerge stronger out of it. I always like to tell my friends, after I cycle for so long, I like to tell them that, a lot of people say life is like riding a bicycle. To keep moving forward, you need to keep on pedal, right?
Yes, gotta keep at it.
But don't forget, you also need to know when to apply the brakes and change your path to reach your destination.
Wow. Okay.
That's profound.
Yeah, I'm sure this pandemic has changed a lot of perception. Even personally, it has changed mine and everything else. Now, Jerry, it has indeed been an honor to have you at our show. Thank you for speaking up for all the delivery heroes. We wish you the very best in your coaching business and your triathlon competitions. Now, Dr. Reddy and I will come back shortly to share more usable tips on wellness and health. So stay tuned for that. So on that, thank you very much, Jerry, for joining us at the show.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back to the show. This is Health Ready with Dr. Reddy. Now, we had a very enjoyable conversation with Jerry just now. It gave us a lot of insight. Now, there was also a part where you've asked us about the hours of sleep that we have and what is the optimum kind of hours to sleep. Now, tell us more about how to get the secrets of getting restful sleep.
Well, sleep is a big topic, and
Right.
it's one of the key pillars for health. And one would say sleeping this many hours will be adequate. But
Right.
when you go deeper, you look at quality of sleep. So sleep has many cycles and phases, right? Stage 1, light sleep, deep sleep,
Okay.
REM sleep. So there are different stages that determine how the quality of sleep is. How
Right.
rested would one feel based on that?
I think it's good to have this discussion because I think a lot of us here in Singapore, or maybe even around the world, it's always been a challenge, when you have got work, you got family, you got career, you got everything else, and sleep somehow has taken a back step towards everything else.
Yeah.
It's reposition.
There has been a study done by the sleep associations in the US that actually showed that in the last 20 years, the time that one sleeps, an average adult sleeps, has shrunk by
Right.
about 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay, guilty. Okay, because before sleep, I'm on my social media and everything else, and they actually said that it's not exactly the most healthy thing to do before sleep.
Yeah, especially at night.
Right.
At night. And that brings us to a very important topic of circadian rhythm. Have you heard of the circadian rhythm?
Take us through.
Okay, so circadian rhythm is basically how light impacts your sleep.
How light impacts the sleep. Okay.
and how light impacts your alertness. So it's a dance between light and dark. So what's involved with that is two hormones. One is melatonin, which is what you get in like pills and stuff over the counter.
Right.
And the other thing is cortisol,
All
which
right.
is otherwise the stress hormone. What wakes you up, what keeps you alert. So circadian cycles have been evolutionary. That means they've been from time immemorial. Animals have circadian cycles too, a different version of what we have, but they have a similar one. This is where light controls your body's functions.
Okay, which means daybreak at 6 a.m., the body automatically wakes up.
That's right.
And once sunset, one tends to want to unwind and chillax and go to sleep.
That's right. So the body is programmed in a way, this is something that we are born into biologically, in a way that you wake up when the day breaks, that when the rays come out, the sun rays come out, and you kind of wind down when it gets dark.
Right.
And that's also a protective evolutionary thing when in the hunter-gatherer days.
Right.
So these mechanisms have been with us for time immemorial.
We're built in like this
Yes,
already.
that's right.
Okay.
So when that disrupts, when that cycle disrupts, then you get problems with how your body's other systems function around it. Like how your digestion works when your circadian cycle is disrupted. So a poor sleep, say you didn't sleep for some reason.
Right.
You say on a shift work. How does your last meal digest when you've not got that rest period where those nutrients are absorbed by your body?
Wow. So there's a connection between sleep and the digestive system.
100%. So a lot of conditions like irritable bowel have very close connection to sleep quality and melatonin. And that's something that modern day, a lot of diseases have contributed through the circadian pathways, through the disruption in sleep, through the stress that it brings and stuff like that.
And of course, the social media at night.
Yes, that's the added element of what's causing the disruption.
And the Netflix.
Yeah, the blue light. The blue light. It's not per se the Netflix and social media,
right,
but it's the blue light from the screen that kind of disrupts the circadian cycle, which kind of delays your melatonin hormone release.
You know, one of the stories I've heard from one of my mentor is when he goes to sleep and everything else, he actually uses like very dark curtains and every single source of light, you know, he actually blocks it off and everything else to get into the deep sleep that all of us are looking for.
That's a perfect example for sleep hygiene. So having a sleep routine, things to do before you call it a day, not just like come off from the office, take a shower and jump on bed. Okay, that doesn't unwind you enough. So if you have a routine, say you do like a deep breathing just before you sleep, or you kind of go for a walk, or you go out, relax, walk in nature, something like that takes you off from work where your adrenaline and cortisol are high, to come to a phase where your body says, okay, now it's time to unwind and sleep. That phase of rest and relaxation is so crucial for your sleep routine.
That's something that I really can relate, because when I'm on stage, you know, with the adrenaline going on and everything else, by the time I hit the sack and everything, you know, I just can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
I'm so high and so tense and everything else. And, you know, I lay in bed at, say, for example, at 1 o'clock, and by the time I really fall asleep, it's at 4 o'clock. And my goodness, I can't even go into the deep sleep that I was looking at. The next morning, I feel so bad, so awful.
Yeah, you don't wake up fresh.
Right.
The reason is because in the circadian cycle, at different cycles of the sleep, your body temperature and heart rate vary. So during your deep sleep, your heart rate's supposed to go low. So heart rate we call it heart rate variability. So that goes low. Your temperature also would drop. And the body's entire focus is on detox and healing and recovery.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you miss that stage of sleep, that is for some reason, your sleep is shallow. Like say you have snoring problem and you don't get to the deep sleep stage, you don't wake up feeling refreshed the next day.
And can I just make a wild guess?
Yeah.
That it leads to premature aging as well?
Yes, definitely, because your body is not getting time to recover. Your cells are constantly stressed and like say semi-repaired and rested. So your body doesn't go back to a rested and reset phase. So that accumulates over time and it becomes degenerative.
Okay, I'm sure there are a lot of sports people who are watching this channel right now. And how does rest comes in? I mean, they put in, put their body through all the regimens of exercise and everything else. Is rest also important as much as the exercise?
100%. I think for a very well acclimatized and trained athlete, rest and recovery play a very big role on performance. So just before the event, they have to put in hours into training.
Yes.
At the same time, they also have to prepare for the event by resting and making sure that their body is able to be at the optimum performance on that day, the big day.
So it is not just putting in the kilometers and really hitting the gym, hitting the track every day, everything else. There must be sufficient time to recover.
Yes, because the pause, it's like music. So in a music, the pause is also as important as the note.
Right.
So that's what makes it a song. That's what makes it musical.
Right.
So for sport, it's the same thing. Because when you train hard and you perform at that level where you're putting everything and you're going all out, your body goes through acute stress.
Wow, okay.
Because you're pushing your body. Then to recover from the stress, you do need that recovery and resting phase. Sleep plays a very, very crucial role there. That's the time when your muscle recovers. That's the time when the nutrients you eat in the food that you take, the supplements you take, are being absorbed for repair, are being used for repair. And that's the time you're mentally also processing your training and your muscle memory, everything. All that happens during sleep.
Wow, okay, that is a lot of new information, okay, especially if you're catching us for the very first time. All right, well, we've come to the end of our very first episode. So before we go, all right, this is also an opportunity for us to recap what we have talked about today. Dr. Reddy?
Yeah, so to quickly recap a few things that we discussed today, health goes beyond just weight. There's a lot more to it. And things like immunity are something that you build and you can rewire. You can make your immunity strong. Always look for root causes of the disease, not just of the symptoms, but go deeper. Food is medicine. That's the first pillar for health. Sleep is the second pillar. Get those 6 to 8 hours of sleep. All-round benefits of exercise.
It's important.
That's very important too. We will go deeper in the episodes to come. That's the third pillar, how exercise impacts health. And acknowledge and handle your stress better and take control of every aspect of health, because that's how you take charge.
Hey audience, I hope you find this episode of Health Ready with Dr. Reddy enriching. Perhaps COVID-19 is like a wake-up call for all of us to take care of our own health and wellness, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally as well. Till the next time we meet, this is Water Tay.
And this is Dr. Reddy.
Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon.